Warm welcome to each and everyone, and very good morning, all my dear children. And so I am before you to just have a brief intro towards this paper that is all about paper number 17 of CMA final, which is cost and management audit. So let us have a brief intro towards this subject and let us start. Before going to each and everything, would just like to tell you one part. You all, my dear children, just I hope that you all people know the course that you are actually studying, which is all about cost and management accounting, CMA, which is of course headed by the board ICAI, which is popularly called as ICMAI, in order to have a clear-cut difference between chartered accountants and cost accountants. Of course, strictly the board name is all about Institute of Cost Accountants of India, but now in order to have some clear-cut difference, we will be calling it as Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of India. So now, the course that you are studying is all about CMA, Cost and Management Accounting. So once if you have cleared this course, you will become CMA. What is that? Cost and Management Accountant. So now, of course, as you all people know that once if you have cleared this CMA, you are having two opportunities. Number one, you can go to corporate sector. Number two, you can have your own practice. Coming to corporate sector, again you're having two parts. Number one is like industry and number two is like education. Now we are not going to speak about each and every aspect, but we are going to concentrate on this aspect purely. Likewise, a CMA in practice. If anybody wishes to be in practice, obviously they should have good knowledge, good updations, etc. and etc. Everything about the field of audit. For your kind information, my dear children, around there are 100 branches in audit. Likewise, to tell you for your kind information, cost audit, secretarial audit, statutory audit, forensic audit, internal audit, operational audit, management audit, what is that called? Concurrent audit. Many branches are there. On an average, on and around, you're having 100 branches in audit. But of course, we will not concentrate on each and every branch. We will concentrate actually on our syllabus. So to become CMA in practice, you should have a very good knowledge towards this audit. You should update yourselves all the time. And anyways, if you observe paper number 17, which is all about cost and management audit. So if you observe, generally audit in the sense majority of the people will be having a conception that it is pure theoretical subject. But for your kind information, my dear children, here coming to especially for cost audit, it is not at all a theoretical subject. It is all about a practical subject. Likewise, also you will be having the problematic part here. To tell you, my dear children, actually to segregate CA, who is a chartered accountant, CMA, who is a cost and management accountant, and CS, who is a company secretary. These three people, if at all in practice, these three people are having their specializations. A CA in practice can go for statutory audit. A CMA in practice can go for cost audit. A CS in practice can go for secretarial audit. These are the specializations actually where one stream, likewise if a person is having a practice in one stream, cannot do the other audit with respect to the statutory, cost and secretarials. To tell you something, like statutory audit is a specialization of chartered accountant in practice, cost audit is a specialization of cost and management accountant in practice, secretarial audit is a specialization of CS in practice. So now moving on to regular term audit. As like you all people know that the regularized definition of audit, like audit is an independent examination which is performed by a person and who has to express his opinion. Expressing his opinion, please take care. Audit is something like expressing his opinion. expressing opinion will best suits for a financial audit. I mean to tell a regular audit, but the same may not be suitable to the cost audit. So for your kind information, if you have seen section A, which is like cost audit, all about gathering for 50% weightage. As you all people should understand one thing, that you people being going with the profession of CMA, cost and management accounting, so you will be having some specialized fields with respect to this cost or costing subjects or management element subjects, and one of the element is all about this cost audit, where it is catering all an average for 50% marks in your examination. For your kind information, my dear children, what is this cost audit? To tell you something like, there's a lots and lots of difference between a financial audit and cost audit. First of all, let's concentrate what is this cost audit. Cost audit is something like verification of cost records, cost report, cost ascertainment, etc. So likewise, cost audit is something like you can verify each and everything, like cost records, cost reports that they have submitted, and cost ascertainment and etc., which are absolutely relating all to the manufacturing sector. Relating to the manufacturing sector. To tell you, my dear children, to segregate it from the regularized audit version, in your regularized audit, that is, I mean to tell all about financial audit, you will be checking the books of accounts. You can't question anything, but cost audit scope is something which is where you can question also. To tell you something like, say for example, you're going with an audit of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, where it had paid salaries, or to tell you something like where it had gone with some traveling expenses. Total traveling expenses spent for the year by TCS and group of companies comes to an average of 20 crores. So now you being a statutory auditor, or you being a financial auditor, or just going with the books of accounts and just going through the verification of this one, traveling expenses like 20 crores. Hope you know the concept of vouching, where you have already learnt in your CMA inter. So how will you verify, or how will you vouch this traveling expense, or how will you verify this traveling expense? Of course, you will be just asking for all the bills and vouchers. So you will be just asking from the accounting department, I just need to verify this traveling expenses of 20 crores. So they have given you a bills, or huge bills relating to this traveling expenses, which includes all the bills, vouchers, etc. and etc. So now you have verified all the traveling expenses and you are extremely satisfied, and it had almost comes to 20 crores. I mean to tell, 1 or 2 rupees might not be a greater difference. So almost it is equal to 20 crores. Will you be happy or not? Of course, yes. Because traveling expenses recorded in the books of accounts come to 20 crores, and the elements, the proofs, documents submitted by them were absolutely 20 crores. So you're extremely happy. But my dear children, being an auditor, can you have a right of questioning, like why did you spend 20 crores towards traveling expenses during the year? Then the management of TCS will be giving you a very satirical answer. You being an auditor, just check and go. Of course, yes. Reason being, auditor is supposed to check whether the financial statements were being correctly recorded or not. Whether the absolute proofs, documents, vouchers are existing or not. That is what your major job. Apart from that, you're not having any other job at all. I mean to tell, you cannot question like, why did you spend that much expense? That is none of my business at all. None of the auditor's business at all. But my dear children, which is extremely different when compared to this cost audit. Hope you know something like called as cost sheet. Cost sheet. I hope you know what is the meaning of cost sheet actually. So likewise, you might have already done the same in your CMA inter for sure. So coming to cost sheet, wherever you are having all the direct expenses, cost of raw materials consumed, which are commonly called as prime cost, and then you will be going with all the indirect expenses, where of course, cost of raw materials consumed, direct expenses, direct labor, etc., which is constituting prime cost, and then you will be going with indirect expenses or overheads, which will be constituting a factory cost. For your kind information. Say for example, cost records of one particular manufacturing entity had shown an amount of rupees 10 crores. Can you question like, why did you spend this much amount on manufacturing activity? Why did you take this sort of raw material when another raw material is absolutely available at a cheaper price with the same quality? Yes, you can question all these things. You can question all these things till the moment that you are in cost audit. So cost audit is not something like expressing an opinion. It is all about checking each and every aspect. It is all about you have to give absolute element like whether the decisions that were being taken by the manufacturing sector or the factory were correct or wrong. You need to check on each and every aspect. For each and every query of you, the management needs to answer. The cost audit is something more than the financial audit. That is the reason for your kind information, my dear children. If you have gone to a client place in general, for a general audit, you will be spending hardly for 15 to 20 days. I'm telling you the maximum time. Of course, you might have spent just 3 to 4 days or 2 to 3 days at the client's place to do the audit with respect to some business concerns. But the maximum time limit that you may take in a financial audit is all about 15 to 20 days. But cost audit is not like that. Minimum 180 days are given. This is the period. Within 180 days, you need to complete the cost audit. That is the time period that is given by Companies Act 2013. So just think, where is this 15 or 20 days or hardly 1 month, and where are these 180 days, which are like on an average 6 months? So that is all about cost audit. The cost audit is something like verification of cost records, cost reports, cost ascertainment, and also you are having any right on that industry or on that manufacturing sector or on that factory. So coming to cost audit, for your kind information, my dear children, you will be having CRAR, Cost Records and Audit Rules 2014. You will be learning these things, and also you will be having GASAPs, Generally Accepted Cost Accounting Principles, and you are having CAS, Cost Auditing and Accounting, Assurance Standard, and also you will be having CAS, Cost Accounting Standards. So for your kind information, I hope you all people know accounting standards or Ind AS. And simultaneously, I hope that you know even SCS, standards on auditing. AS, accounting standards or Ind AS, must be followed by each and every business concern to prepare their books of accounts. And now these standards on auditing will be acting as rules and regulations for auditor to check whether these are followed properly or not. So accounting standards and Ind AS are the guidelines given to the business concern for preparing the books of accounts. Standards on auditing are the guidelines given for the auditor to verify whether those things were, those books of accounts were properly prepared or not by following these accounting standards. That is the reason harmonization of principles are absolutely needed in accounting standards and standards on auditing. For your kind information, accounting standard number 4, contingencies and events occurring on balance sheet date, and I say 565 was not wrong, subsequent events. Likewise, I'm just giving you some example. In the same way, my dear children, you are having something called as CAS and GASAP. Already you might have heard the word IGAP. It is generally not possible to cover each and everything in accounting standard. Because for your kind information, for income, you are having a standard called AS9, accounting revenue recognition. But for expense, no standard is there. Reason being, Indian generally accepted accounting principles or accounting conventions, one of the concepts is all about periodicity. If you have chosen a particular period and if you have booked income for the particular period, all the related expenses must be booked in that period itself. So for expense, absolutely no standard is necessary whenever you are having absolute standards on incomes. Then how expense shall be recorded, sir? By following these IGAPs, generally accepted accounting principles. In the same way, here also you are having the concept of CAS and GASAP, cost accounting standards and GASAPs, which are nothing but generally accepted cost accounting principles, which are absolutely a replication for accounting standards and gaps. And also you are having CAS. Just for the time being, I will be calling this as CAS, cost accounting standard, and I will be calling this as CAS, cost auditing and assurance standard. These are absolutely similar to SCS. So to conclude, my dear children, these two things, that is like CAS and GASAPs, are the guidelines given for a manufacturing entity or for a business concern. Whereas CAS or the rules and regulations or the guidelines that were being given to auditor, that you need to check out these things, whether these elements were properly incorporated while preparing the books of accounts or not. That is like while preparing the cost sheet or not. Here books of accounts doesn't mean the financial books of accounts, but it is all about the cost books of accounts. And one more difference. Here accounting standards or Ind AS are absolutely mandatory for each and every business concern. Whereas coming to CAS and GASAPs are not mandatory for each and every business concerns, but these are like recommendatory in nature. These are absolutely like recommendatory in nature. So if a business concern would like to follow, it can follow. If not, no need to follow. But it should have some basic accounting principles for doing this accounting with respect to the cost records. So now, telling you the last and final and major difference that you will be having in cost audit and financial audit. To tell you, say for example, your foundation, that is like entrance, CMA foundation or CA, CPT or CA foundation, whatever you have it. If you have remembered, my dear children, you will be having final accounts 1 and final accounts 2. When in final accounts 1, you will be drafting trading P&L account, and in final accounts 2, you will be going with manufacturing account. For your kind information, this manufacturing account is absolutely called as cost sheet in your interlevel, CA interlevel or CMA interlevel. This is all about CA foundation or CMA foundation. So this is converted into a cost sheet. So generally, first you will be preparing a cost sheet where you will be showing the total cost that you have incurred on a particular product. To tell you all about direct material, direct labor, direct expenses, which is called as prime cost, and then adding overheads or indirect expenses, which will be calling as a factory cost on a whole. And minus if any sale of scrap or any byproduct sale is there, then you will be deducting that incidental income and you will be getting a final cost for a particular product. Then for this cost, you will be adding some profit and you have to incur some expenses, and finally you will be selling it to outsiders. So for your kind information, up to this part, cost audit shall be dealing with. From this part, financial audit shall be dealing with. So this is the major difference between these two things. So just take care. Would like to have a proper revision and a proper reference between these two things. Number 1 is all about cost audit and number 2 is all about financial audit. That is like general audit. Remember, point number 1, audit is an independent examination, so as to express an opinion and which should be conducted with true and fair view. Now, what is the major difference between cost audit and financial audit? Point number 1, cost audit will be dealing with the manufacturing sector or industries. Financial audit will be dealing with the trading sectors in general. So, coming to cost audit, it is very vast when compared to general financial audit. That's the reason I told you hard time spent for a financial audit is all about 1 month. But cost audit is all about less than or equal to 180 days period is given by the Companies Act. So in cost audit, you will be verifying the cost records, the cost reports, cost ascertainment, etc. Whereas in financial audit, you will be just verifying the books of accounts. You can't have any right to question, why did you spend this much? Why did you sold your product at this price in financial audit? Whereas in cost audit, you are having every right to question with respect to the cost elements. Likewise, why did you purchase this kind of raw material when it is cheaper, when it is available at a cheaper rates with the same quality? You can question these kind of things. Say for example, business A had imported a raw material which is costing at a price of rupees 1 lakh. But the same raw material, if it was manufactured in India, you will be having a hard price of rupees 30,000. Then obviously auditor can question, why did you do that? If the answer is justified, let it be. If the answer is not justified, then obviously he will be giving a negative opinion on that. So cost audit is a specialized element that is absolutely the power of cost auditor who is in practice. That is like cost accountant in practice. The person who is conducting this cost audit, he will be cost as a cost auditor. And what are the guidelines or rules and regulations for this cost audit is concerned, sir? First, for your kind information, cost accounting. With respect to this cost accounting is concerned, you are having the concept of CAS and GASAPs, which are purely similar to your accounting standards and GAPs, cost accounting standards and generally accepted cost accounting principles. They might be mandatory, but these are absolutely recommendatory in nature. And next is all about cost audit. Guidelines for cost audit is all replicated in the concept of CAS, cost auditing and assurance standards, wherein these are the guidelines for a cost auditor to just verify the cost accounting records. So this is actually the main concept of cost audit is all about. And the next part, if you have checked out, is all about this management audit, which is catering on an average of 25% in this. Then what is this management audit, sir? Listen, management audit, which is actually a very different kind of audit. For your kind information, for the first ever time when I have learned about this management audit, I was literally surprised and shocked. Even these kind of audits will be there. For your kind information, this is a kind of audit which is not at all performed by an auditor. Generally, all the audits will be performed by an auditor, but management audit is not at all performed by an auditor. Then what is this, sir? Let's have a small coverage with respect to this management audit also. Take care. I hope you all know the concept of KMP, Key Managerial Personnel. Who are all about this KMP, sir? As you all people know that KMP or those persons who are having authority and responsibility towards planning, directing and controlling the operations of the company. Key managerial personnel or the persons who are having power, authority and responsibility. They have delegated with some responsibility that the company should be planned well, directed well and controlled well with respect to the operations of the company, with respect to the policies that were being framed by the company, with respect to the decisions that were being framed by the company. So something like the top level management, to tell you like hierarchy of management, you will be knowing like top level management, medium level management or middle row and the final level management, that is like bottom level management. So coming to this top level management, generally we will be calling these people as KMP, where you are having CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, MD, Managing Director or Manager, or even COO, Chief Operating Officer, CS, Company Secretary, etc. For your kind information, my dear children, you think with common sense and tell me, are the salaries of KMP low or high? Obviously higher. Not even high, higher. Company has to spend crores and crores of rupees to retain these KMPs actually. But point here you have to note is all about, if company is paying crores and crores of rupees on them, would company like to know the efficiency of these people or not? Of course, yes. See, it's a very quite common sense element that for every penny that you're paying, you would like to get harder benefit. Then if you're spending crores and crores on somebody or something, would you need to check out the benefit on that or not? Absolutely. The company would like to know the efficiency of these people or the work dedication that they are having towards the company, or how they are actually performing in the company, how qualitative they are, how talented they are, how quick they react actually, what kind of decisions that they have taken. That is what all about management audit. That is like doing an audit on the management. Doing an audit on the management. It is no way considered generally with the amount. Likewise, your financial audit is concerned with amount, your cost audit is concerned with amount, but check out management audit in different functions. Information systems and security audit, which is a different branch of management audit where you will learn later, management reporting issues and analysis. So take care, in management audit, you will have to know how the management is actually working, whether they are efficient or not. Then who will be performing this one, sir? You told that management audit is something like audit on management. It is generally no way concerned to amount, but it is something like whether the management or key managerial personnel who are in the top level management are actually efficient or not, or actually reacting quick or not, or actually doing justice for the amount that they were paid or not. Then who will be performing this, sir? For your kind information, before telling who will be performing this one, would like to ask one question. If Mr. A is a person who is in a company, like a simple person like cashier. Mr. A is a cashier. So, being a cashier, generally it is quite possible to manipulate the cash. So, Mr. A was being keenly observed. Mr. A was being keenly observed. This information was being known to Mr. A. So, whenever that this information is known to Mr. A that he was being keenly observing and whether he is manipulating the cash or not, will he be prepared for the same or not? Yes, obviously he'll prepare for that, and he will be more care. He will be having more care. He will be more vigilant. Likewise, he will not indulge in any kind of manipulations up to certain period of time for sure. And again, when Mr. A had got the information that everything was become normal and Mr. A was certified that he is a good person or good cashier, then automatically A might start again his manipulations. So, if at all you need to know that whether a person is working better or not, that was actually not to be known to him. So, to tell you that, that has to be keenly observed on a secret basis. You have to maintain secrecy for that. In the same way, CEO is Mr. K. Whether Mr. K is efficient for that position or not, whether Mr. K will fit to that position or not, he has to be keenly observed for the same. But this has to be performed in a secrecy way. I mean, this have to be performed secretly. That element should not be known to Mr. K. Then who will perform this management audit, sir? See, this has to be performed by another employee or another key managerial personnel. That is like one person will be judging the other elements, another person will be judging that one's elements. Whether this person is doing efficiently or not, another person, another employee, another KMP will be checking on the KMP number 1. KMP 2 will be checking on KMP number 1. KMP 1 will be checking on KMP number 2. And the whole process will be done secretly. That is what all about your management audit. Hope you find it very different, right? So management audit is something like audit on the management, which is done secretly. No external person will come into the client's place. One person will be doing audit on another person. So that is all about your management audit. So Section C is all about internal control, internal audit and operational audit, and section D is all about forensic audit and anti-money laundering, which is actually newly introduced. This was actually newly introduced. Anyways, my dear children, that's the end for today's class. Let's meet in the next session from section C and section D. So hope you have enjoyed the session and all the best from your next session. Bye, ma.